Welcome back to The Hangout, where we dive into the overlooked brilliance of Noughties television. If you're new here, make sure to check out the first 2 episodes in this series. In episode 1, we introduced Everwood as one of the most underrated shows of the early 2000s. And in episode 2, we explored the messy, real family dynamics that ground the series in emotional truth. You'll find links to both episodes in the description below. In today's chapter of our Everwood series, we're turning our attention to one of the most emotionally complex characters in the show, Amy Abbott. On the surface, she may have started as the archetypal girl next door, but Everwood had bigger plans for her. This isn't a story about being perfect. It's about breaking down and rebuilding on your own terms. Amy Abbott's arc is one of the rawest depictions of teenage depression ever put on television. Today we're exploring how the show traces her unraveling and why it's so important. When we first meet Amy Abbott, she radiates optimism. She's cheerful, charming, and driven. The girl next door, but with ambition. But even in those early scenes, you can feel a quiet desperation. Her every move is driven by a single hope: bringing her boyfriend Colin back from a coma. But this isn't a love story. It's a story of denial. Amy is using Colin as a lifeline to her old life, to the illusion that everything can go back to the way it was before. It's a coping mechanism, disguised as romantic devotion. Amy's also the emotional anchor of the Abbott family, always holding it together. But Everwood slowly peels back the layers to show us that Amy is anything but fine. With Colin's death, Amy spirals. Her grief isn't dramatic, it's quiet, numbing. And that's what makes it so accurate. She pushes away her friends, lashes out at her family, and loses interest in everything she once cared about. Everwood deserves immense credit for refusing to tidy up her pain. It doesn't offer quick fixes or romantic saviors. Ephraim, who might have been the hero in another show, can't save her. In fact, his attempts often make things worse. What we see is a teenage girl slipping through the cracks, falling apart in slow motion, and the town around her doesn't quite know what to do. Her father, Harold, is more clinical than compassionate, and her mother, Rose, tries, but even she can't reach her. And then comes the moment when Amy tries therapy. She doesn't quite want it, she's not ready for it, but this step, even unsuccessful at first, feels monumental. Because it shows us that Amy isn't wallowing, she's surviving. What made Amy's depiction in the show so groundbreaking for the time was its refusal to gloss over mental illness. Early 2000s teen dramas often hinted at sadness, but rarely lingered on depression with this kind of emotional depth. Amy's story wasn't about external rebellion or stylized angst. It was internal, slow-burning, and painfully real. She wasn't fixed in a single episode. Her struggles weren't just subplots. They were the plot. And that kind of commitment to realism was rare in youth-centered storytelling of that era. Amy's recovery isn't linear, and that's exactly why it works. One episode she's laughing with Ephraim, the next she's emotionally checked out. This is real. It reflects how depression can ebb and flow, and how healing doesn't follow a straight path. As she starts to let others in, like Hannah in the latter seasons, we see flickers of the old Amy. But she's not returning to who she was. She's becoming someone new, someone stronger, more self-aware, and more emotionally grounded. What Everwood does so well is remind us that healing doesn't mean forgetting. Amy still loves Colin. She still mourns him. But she also begins to understand that her identity isn't defined by that loss. Teen depression is so often sanitized or over-dramatized on TV. Everwood, by contrast, chooses quiet realism. It shows us that healing can be uncomfortable, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just keep going. Amy Abbott isn't a cautionary tale or a symbol. She's a person. Messy, brave, flawed, and utterly relatable. And her journey is one of the many reasons why Everwood remains so special. What did you think of Amy's arc? Did you relate to her journey? Let's talk about it in the comments if you're comfortable. This is a safe space. And if you're enjoying these deep dives into Everwood, hit that like button and subscribe. Next up, we're looking at Bright Abbott's surprising evolution and why he might be the most quietly transformative character in the show. Thanks for watching this character study on Amy Abbott. Her story is proof that falling apart doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And rebuilding yourself? That's where the real strength lies. I'll see you next time on The Hangout.